Hi, welcome to the first ever video in this series where we'll be taking a look at bonbons. These videos are brought to you by Beta Crystal, a company made by chefs for chefs, solving everyday problems with innovation. Now, in this video, we'll take a look at all the various topics that we'll be covering in this series. And at the end, we'll also be talking a little bit more about your environmental requirements. What conditions are conducive to making great bonbons? In the second video, we'll take a look at molds. We'll take a look at the various types of molds, the various materials used, designs, and shapes, and how they affect the final quality of your product. In the third video, we'll be taking a look at tempering. Now, a lot of beginners have an issue with tempering, so we're going to try and explain everything we can in the easiest way possible about tempering. What is tempering? What are beta crystals? How does all of this work? And we're going to show you how to recognize a well-tempered piece of chocolate. We're going to talk about the 3 S's and how those things tie in together. In the fourth video, we're going to talk about the practicalities of tempering. Here, we will not only be tempering chocolate, but we'll be using various methods. We're going to look at tabling and seeding and much more. We're also going to be looking at the equipment required to temper chocolate and what equipment suits you. What best fits your needs? What are the pros and cons? We'll be looking at all of these various angles, and hopefully you'll have a better idea of how you choose to temper your chocolate. We'll also be looking at troubleshooting, looking for signs that tell you that your chocolate is not in temper or something has gone wrong, and try and avoid these situations as early as possible to prevent you from all the additional work and waste of your product. Now, in the fifth video, we're going to be talking about cocoa butter colors. This has received a lot of attention in the recent times, and that's due to Instagram-worthy bonbons. So many of them. They look so amazing, so beautiful. How do you get them? How do you do that? We're going to teach you how. We're going to talk to you about cocoa butter colors, and we're also going to show you how you can make your own cocoa butter colors. We'll be taking a look at cocoa butter seed and cocoa butter silk, and we're going to show you how to use these various products in your bonbon making process. In the sixth video, we're going to be talking about bonbon coloring and decorations. How do you get those various designs and patterns? What are the techniques used? We're going to teach you some basic techniques and some a little more advanced, and hopefully you can come up with your own style and your own design and your own patterns. Now, in the seventh video, we're going to take a look at airbrushing. Now, airbrushing may seem complicated, but once you understand the basics, it's all quite straightforward. We are going to look at the various types of airbrushes, the nozzle sizes, compressors, and how do you use each nozzle with each product, and how do you get those different techniques and designs and patterns. We're going to cover all of this so you have a good understanding of how airbrushing works. In the eighth video, we're going to talk about fillings. We're going to talk about all the different types of ganaches and all the different textures and flavors that you could incorporate into your fillings. We're going to show you how to intensify those flavors and how to enhance your fillings and bonbons, and how to be creative and give you some ideas that hopefully inspire you to create your very own signature flavors. Now, in the ninth video, we're going to go over all that we have covered in the previous videos, and we're going to put the pieces of the puzzle together, and hopefully you'll have a better understanding of how you can convert this into a viable business and what would be required on your end. In the 10th video, we have a surprise for you, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. But we'll also be covering all of the questions asked during any of these videos. So if you have any questions, please leave a comment below, and we'll try to address all of them and get you the answers that you are looking for. Hopefully that helps you out and you understand the roadmap that we have ahead for you. So let's talk about your environment and how we can set it up for success. Now, when you're looking at the environmental conditions, there are 2 things that are very important in making chocolate. That is temperature and humidity. We ourselves are located in Taiwan, an island. It's extremely hot and extremely humid. We have beautiful cacao plants growing over here, but not so great for tempering chocolate. So how do we get by it? Well, we'll give you some of the tips and tricks that we use to make amazing chocolates, even in really humid and really hot conditions. So, if you are looking to make bonbons or chocolates, the ideal temperature range for you should be between 17 to 20 degrees Celsius. Now, if you're not able to get within that range and it goes towards the higher 25, then what is going to happen is it's going to become exceedingly difficult to temper your chocolate. So, if your temperature goes beyond 25, just take a break. It's not worth the effort because it's going to be really, really hard to temper your chocolate, and you're just going to hit a wall and you're not going to be happy with the results that you produce. So take a break, and as a small business, we all have a lot of things pending, so focus on those. It is important to work in a condition that sets you up for success so that you can build your own confidence and really get amazing results and see the fruits of your labor, right? Now, if you're looking at humidity, the humidity is somewhere in the range of 40 to 50%. Anything higher than that is going to be really difficult to work with chocolate. Chocolate does not like moisture of any kind, whether it is your table, your utensils. If anything is damp or has moisture on it, it's going to be really difficult to work with chocolate. So chocolate does not like moisture. So that is something that you need to be aware of at all points in time. Now let's talk about how we work in our lab. We have a small lab, and it's small on purpose. It's easier to control the environment in a smaller space, and it's also more cost effective. It's large enough that we're not stepping over ourselves, but it's small enough that it becomes cost effective in controlling heat and humidity. We have a wall-mounted air conditioner, but sometimes it's just too hot for the air conditioner to actually work and get us down to the temperature that we need. So we use a portable air conditioner in a pinch. But there's something that you have to understand about portable air conditioners, and that they're not really cost effective, and you don't get as much bang for your buck as you normally would. So those should be the last resort. Instead, I would focus more on insulation. Insulation is key. If you can insulate your work environment, it's going to bring down your cost a lot more. So we use around 3 centimeter thick foam insulation on all of our windows. Windows are a really large heat source. Whenever that sun hits your window, it acts like a greenhouse and that heat gets trapped inside. Now, another thing to be cautious about is your walls. Are your walls well insulated? We have concrete walls which are pretty thick, so we're pretty good over there. But if you have wooden walls or something else, you need to think about how well it insulates and what are those requirements that you need in your weather condition, in your location, right? Something else to think about is heat sources that are lights. Now, lights can be a tremendous heat source. So if you're using LED fluorescent bulbs, that's awesome, because that helps not only bring down your electricity bill on your lighting, but it also helps bring down the electricity bill on your air conditioning. And that is key, right? Now, when you're talking about insulating your doors, it's very important that you start off with good practices. That is, get everything that you need to work with chocolate in the room before you start working. This will help prevent the constant in and out and really help you maintain that bubble, because it's difficult, especially if you live in hot environments like we do. So that's one thing that you really need to be aware of and take notice of. Now, when it comes to humidity, we have a portable dehumidifier, and the dehumidifier works well most of the time. Some days it's a little difficult because when it rains over here, the humidity can go up to 80% plus, and that's really hard to work with chocolate. So what we do is we always keep the dehumidifier on even if we are not working, and that helps maintain that bubble, because if you turn it off and kind of humidity seeps in, it's really hard to do, and it's really difficult to work with, right? And it's very hard to get that humidity out. So keeping the dehumidifier running all the time is kind of an expense, but it works best for us. You need to figure out what works best for you and how well you can insulate your room. Now, let's say that you are just starting your new business and you're looking for a workspace and you haven't yet found one. So what should you look for? Well, it's always best to work in a commercial kitchen, but those can be expensive at times, and may not give you some of the freedoms that you need to do your particular business. So if you are looking for your own personal workspace, some things to look at is the insulation of the room, the location where it is situated, uh, whether there are windows, and whether it's, most importantly, whether it's well air conditioned. This is super critical. It really needs to be well air conditioned for you to kind of save your time, money and energy. So these are some of the things that you need to look at. If you have really large windows, they're going to be really difficult to kind of work with, right? If you don't have a good air conditioning system, that's going to give you a lot of trouble. Understand that your environment is constant. Where you set up and where you work, you're always going to be fighting that. So if you're not set up well and you've not managed your environmental conditions well in the very beginning, it's going to be very difficult for you later. You're always going to be fighting an uphill battle. So you don't want that to happen. So you want to take care of these things early on, right? Another thing that I would recommend is, if you're going to look at a space, try going to see the space during peak heat season, so that you understand what the temperature is going to be and what it's going to feel like to work in that space at peak heat, right? Because if you are located in certain regions, it's going to be almost impossible for you to work in those regions in certain months of the year. And if that happens, you need to take that into consideration when you are planning out your business and how you're going to handle those months of the year, right? It is important to take a look at those things. Now, if you're looking at a location that is situated on the top floor of a building, I would advise against that. There are multiple reasons for that. When you're located on the top of a building, you're going to get direct sunlight, and your roof is going to get hot. That's a heat source. Another thing is also, the higher up you go, the more elevation you have, the more unpredictable and the larger the sway in your climatic conditions. So you're really going to have to work hard every time, all the time, and really keep track of those things. It's easier if you're on the ground floor and doing things. Now, if you're doing a home business and your home's located up there, there's not much you can do about it, but you need to focus on how you can mitigate those things and be aware of those things. So hopefully you've gotten a good idea of what to look for in choosing the right space to work. And if you don't really have a choice in choosing the right place to work, how to kind of mitigate and handle some of the inconveniences, or I should say drawbacks, of the location where you are working. Hopefully you found this video informative, and hopefully you found it helpful. I hope to see you again in the next video, and until then, happy chocolatiering. See you.